So I took a couple days off the vlog because everything's been kind of crazy. I mean, not really. It's actually been very, very tame, and that's probably more of the reason. We went down to go try to get the housing stuff done, and that turned out to be a little bit more crazy than I thought it was going to be. Just more paperwork. And then we also didn't want to do it because, they won't be able to do the pet deposit for my cat. So we're trying to make some money real quick. That's going to be a nightmare. So we're just trying to sell t shirts right now. That's what we know how to do. So I thought instead I would share some stories about who I am and where I came from. So I thought I would start with my very first memory and how I broke my nose when I was a kid and became a forever mouth breather. So my very first memory, I was about 3, and my parents used to go to a Mormon church. They were new in town. We were looking for a community, and that's just where we found it, was at this church. And I remember me and my brother and this girl that we were hanging out with wandering through these hallways looking for a water fountain. And then I remember them both getting water and them both leaving. And then I remember being completely lost. 3 years old, lost, crying, just really, really just distressed. I didn't know where my parents were, I didn't know where I was, I didn't know where anybody was. So I was just wandering around, and I eventually, walked into the main congregation area, and the priest who was giving the sermon, he yelled at me for interrupting him. And this has always really stood out to me as like a very important memory because, as you'll see as you get to know me more, I'm very confused and lost when it comes to spirituality and religion, which has led me to build my own core beliefs, which I think have served me way more than the beliefs of a religion or anybody else. So, I think it also built up that problem I have with authority. Like, this guy was there, he was supposed to help me out, he didn't. Just felt very betrayed. So I just haven't really trusted authority since. Um, so then the second story, I was 2 at the time, so it actually takes place before the first story, and I don't really actually remember it. But here's the story I've heard, and then I'll fill in what I remember. Uh, so it was the Olympics, and there was diving on the TV, and my dad walked up and told me that I could be whatever I wanted to be when I grew up. And he says the next thing he heard was a crash and a scream, and I dove off the couch into the coffee table and landed right here on my nose, breaking it. There's blood everywhere. Ever since then, I haven't been able to breathe through my nose right. I don't get enough air, so most of the time I breathe through my mouth. Um, but the way I remember it, because I've always had this crazy imagination. Like, even to this day, sometimes I think I would have been a better writer of like novels and stuff than what I am now. I'm just terrible at writing. But I remember thinking I was like diving into like the ocean, and I was fist fighting sharks. And I don't remember how I wound up on the table, but so. But yeah, go ahead and hit subscribe, and yeah, I'll catch you next time. Take it easy, YouTube.